Hello, everyone, and welcome to the closer for Week 2 HRL MegaMix series. Today, we're on Rolled Oak GP. So, get a nice overview here, and I'll go through the track quick. Rolled Oak GP was a new GP made by Detail recently, specifically for the series. We do have a lot of remake and classic tracks and tracks that have been ran before. Also, have a lot of tracks made for the series, which wasn't planned initially, but when we announced the series, a lot of people just went in, made some tracks for stuff, and we got some really cool new stuff too. So we're rolling through Rolled Oak GP, which is one of those tracks that I put in that category. And this one's pretty sweet. This is an original GP as far as I can tell. No, I don't know, real life basis. Maybe there's some inspiration, but no exact track like this. There is the Forza track Grand Oak, but this is definitely pretty different than that. I don't know, just remembered the name. But pretty sweet. New original layout. Made with go-kart style track as well on the width. So that's going to make it feel a little bit different than a lot of those Reach GPs that you guys may have seen in the Reach throwback, if you remember that. This one will probably look a bit tighter. And it's another tough one. I honestly think you could argue over which track is tougher between this and Eagle River for different reasons. Either way, I think this was a pretty low-key brutal night on the tracks, actually. They were both pretty difficult in their own ways. Yeah, so this is it honestly is, now that I think about it. It's probably one of the harder weeks on the schedule. So just throwing it out there right away at week 2, challenging the drivers. But there you go, there's the fly through the track. Love this track. Was looking forward to racing this one. I thought it had a lot of potential, good flow in it. So hitting the invert, which means we're going to have left to right, Matt, and then Hunter, Opix, and then Soul. And then we've got Soar, Solange, Real Deal, Fireball, Luke, Detail, and we've got Coop, who just woke up, let's go, and Camby, who had to do his laundry. I don't know. Something was going on with Camby in Moto 1. Sitting in the infield, but no driving there. So I don't know. Whatever happened. But Coop and Camby, point is, they're here. I'm going to have to start from the back for this one, unfortunately. But they'll be here for this race. So it's going to be a 15-lapper around Rolled Oak. The lap's a bit longer here. And a rolling start again. Here we go. To decide the overall green flag. And this is going to be one of the more treacherous moments in the race. Solange goes over. Opix goes over as well. And a 4 wide into the first chicane. Now 3 double wides and a 3 wide in the exit as well. Oh my goodness. Aggressive battling early on here in Rolled Oak. All the drivers not trying to waste any time. Look at that move. Several drivers getting around Matt there in the downhill. That was pretty aggressive there. Hunter spins it around in the exit of the chicane. That could be for the lead. Here comes Soul. Hunter brings it in too hot. He brings it in too hot. Him and Soul both go into the wall, lose several positions. They were battling for first and second. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. Hunter trying to make an aggressive move to hold on to his lead, and it was just a little too much. They got locked up. Both going to the wall. Fireball to the lead. Fireball leads the first lap down. Love that, by the way. That's a sick portion of the track, too. But yeah, man. What a first lap. And what a battle inside there. That's Luke on Real Deal for third. Top 4 right now is Fireball, Detail, Luke, Real Deal, and they're all relatively close with each other. And these were, Real Deal ended up clutching it at the end, right? So I think this is your literal top 4 from the last race. This is insane. In a different order, that being said. But they are there already. They're there already, which is not how this is supposed to go, generally. Oh, maybe a look for second. Not, oh, maybe. Solange as well. Gonna make a move. Coop. Soul going in. Camby still in the back.
Checkpoint reached. Lap complete.
Yeah, this is an awesome one for sure. So Fireball now with a decent gap. Detail and Luke battling for second. helping him out there probably. Fireball's got some good pace. It was competitive, actually, for the Hog Tonomoto one that he raced for the win. Ended up losing it out in the end, but had the speed. Had a solid speed at Eagle River as well, but not as far up as he wanted to be at the end. And he's had some pretty good pace. Not able to get that race on the board yet. But we'll definitely see some different winners throughout the season. Maybe this could be Fireball's here. But he does have an early contest from Detail to the inside. Fireball going to shut that down a little bit. But Luke right there. Look at how close this top three is already. And maybe a move to the inside. Luke's some really good chicane speed right now. Trying to make that happen on Detail. And Real Deal not too far behind. Slaunch is in a pretty good position of his own. Soar got spun around there in the exit of the chicane. Hunter really aggressive on Opex. Wow. That was brutal.
Checkpoint reached. Lap complete.
Coop trying to hold off Soul. And we have a very cracked race so far. Remember, this is 15 laps. We're like 3 in. There's a long way to go. And just look at this. This is the top 3 battle right now. All pretty much lined up with each other. And Detail's got that chicane down. And Luke's got it down too. This might be a double pass. For the lead, Fireball might be going from first to third. It's like almost 3 wide for a moment. Detail trying to hold on to that. Here we go. These crests are really difficult on this track. It is almost a rallycross in some locations. Very cool design. Detail with the bog, 3 wide. Fireball gonna lose out on some space. Luke sends it in the chicane. It's gonna work out. Makes it stick. Detail takes the safe route. He's gonna hold on to second and live to fight another day. Real Deal with a big send to the inside. Takes advantage, sees the opportunity right there, goes into third quickly. And that was a big shakeup. Wow, I just realized that was a brutal lap for Fireball. First to fourth by the end of that lap. And not like he's running bad pace either, but just he had one run in the chicane that wasn't really bad, but Detail and Luke had good runs behind him. Fireball had like a decent run, and it just set him up perfectly to lose those spots, and that eventually brought Real Deal back into it too, but that was a really bad run that time. I can't sugarcoat that one. The first one was decent. That one was just not a great one. If you want to win this race, Slaunch having it dialed right now. And making the move. Here they go. Through that difficult crest right there. Inside, big dive. Oh, no. Too aggressive for Fireball. He goes down. Slaunch keeps it on 4 wheels. And that's unfortunate for, well, I mean, obviously they're both going to lose a lot of time. But Slaunch looks like he was really cooking there. Can maybe make up some time to catch up to those guys. Oh, man, Hunter and Opex again. But yeah, that wreck with Fireball going to slow them down a bit. Only 5 laps in. We're only a third of the way through this race. It's already been very intense. Luke with a really nice gap at the moment. But Detail with a strong run on the downhill. Real Deal as well. I think they both might have made up a little bit of time there. Oh, no! A brutal mistake! Detail's got to get one of those... Well, it's not a pole, but one of those chicane pole actions in every season. There was, you know, hopefully his for the season right there, and that's going to be a massive mistake. He's going to lose a lot of time off that. But, I mean, everybody's making mistakes. Wouldn't count him out of it yet. And understandable, too, because this track is, again, there's just mistakes across. There is a lot of them in Eagle River, too. You're not going to go through these races without a mistake. It's really tricky. And we have a caution out on the track. Slaunch lags out. And we're going to skip ahead. Fast forward for a bit here. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're going to skip ahead here. And get back to the green flag. So yeah. Unfortunately, I think... Oh, man. We had this... Yeah, we had this... obviously, the oval cautions. You just have, like, the legitimate cautions. But unfortunately, second non-oval race in the season. And another one where we have to call a black screen caution. Well, I guess we got through the first moto fine. But yeah, unfortunately, another one where we have to do that. So hopefully next time we do one of these. Now, for the SX MX races, not going to be a thing. So hopefully no black screens, especially with the long motos of Iron Hog next week. But for these GPs, we do have the new caution rules that we try to adhere to for the black screens on these. So that's what we're doing here on these types of races. But yeah, that's the nice thing is it'll be unfortunate if somebody gets hit with the lag cheese, but at least we won't have the stoppage next week. And good time to hype it up. As awesome as these first 2 weeks have been, we've got Iron Hog, and that's going to be That's going to be a massive one. That's going to be a massive one. Slaunch is back, making his way as quickly as he can to his position, whereabouts, the closest that he could. Try to do, and I think what we were watching before the lag out occurred, that seems about right. He got a pretty big gap on Fireball, but he was still a decent amount behind Detail. I think that's pretty fair. Repositioned himself, and so now I have to take a drink. Now what we do is, well, I ended up calling it both times, but by circumstance, but probably what it should be is like the leader calls the 3-2-1 go, and then we go off of that. So obviously not perfect, but I mean, these situations are not perfect. So that's what we're discussing now, and shortly, any moment now, we're going to see everybody get back on the gas, get back to racing. Fast forward a little bit. I'm not sure exactly when it happens. Probably soon. There we go. We're back racing at Rolled Oak GP. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. Oh, man. Fireball early on.
Lap complete.
Fighting for it in the back there. But now that the caution restart has gone through, the update in the order, it's a nice gap between the top three of Luke, Real Deal, and Detail, and Slaunch trying to make some gains now that he's back on track in fourth. And he's got a massive gap now with that mistake from Fireball that stretched his gap even more for that position. Hunter, oh wow, Opix really going for it on that downhill. That Ned Camber right there is brutal. Camby getting close to Soar there. But yeah, even though we've got some gaps now, we've seen those mistakes, not over yet. It's really difficult to run these two moto nights, right? These two moto nights where it's on a different track, right? If it was like just Eagle River or just this track, everybody could have got well prepped for it. But on these nights in the season, not every night is like this. A lot of the Hog nights, for example, we run the same track, two motos. Not every night in the season is like this. But on these nights where you have the multiple tracks, that is absolutely a factor. It's really difficult to get a good amount of practice in for both of them. And the drivers that, you know, don't practice throughout the week absolutely do not get that. And, you know, if you show up, we do most of the practice on the first track, and then obviously you get the heat races for the first track. We just did like a 5-minute warm-up for this one. So if any of those guys didn't see this one, they were in for a rude awakening here. But definitely goes to show that for the multi-track nights in the season, of, you know, a lot of the Goose ones are like that. Because that's how a lot of the Goose racing that we did was. You know, we tended to, the Hogs we've tended more towards. A big moment in the race. Luke a little too hard on the exit of the chicane, and that's gonna put Real Deal into the lead. Gonna lead his, I don't know, did he lead it all during the preseason event? I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna call it leading his first lap of the season here in a moment. And there it is. Could Real Deal be in the picture for a moto win here? That'd be massive for him with the wildcard points and such involved as well. But Luke and Detail, I mean, obviously Luke was able to get to the lead earlier. Detail made the damn track. They're gonna have some pretty good pace. He's gonna have some tough competition behind him. Real Deal's gonna have to be on point. Oh, very close to the chicane there. Luke trying to hold off Detail. Detail saw the opportunity, tried to go for it. Got the slight bog in the end there. Very aggressive battle between them in the chicane. Slaunch seeing all of this, hoping for more of it with where he is on track. He's going to need quite a bit more of it, but if he keeps running heaters, and Hunter's going to go down there, Soul get by him. If he keeps running heaters and stays locked, Slaunch absolutely could get involved in this again as well. And Hunter and Soul going at it still. But yeah, man, it's like I said, like the Hogs. Oh well, I don't know if that was some aggressive payback or if that was some lag cheese, maybe a little bit of both. But Soul and Hunter getting into it again, going wide on the off exit of the track again. Soar cheesing the chicane behind them, and yeah, this for Soar being new. This is both of these tracks, honestly, these are some brutal tracks. These are some brutal tracks. Iron Hog in a way might be easier, which is crazy to say. These Reach GPs are very brutal. Not just these in particular. Well, yeah, these in particular, but the more skillful ones are a handful if you're not used to racing them, for sure. And we're getting closer to the end of the race. We're gonna hit 5 laps to go this time by. We're gonna be on the last third of the race here, and things are potentially gonna spice back up. Detail has not lost that much time on Luke, and Luke seems to have closed in a bit on Real Deal, not enough. And yet, but pretty close. And Slaunch is not out of the picture either. This race is certainly not over. It's unfortunate for Slaunch because if it weren't for that, that wreck with Fireball, you look at the gap, he might be there. He might be there. That slowdown might have cost him. And he wrecked in the beginning too. He had that massive flip. I think he recovered very nicely out of it, but it's still a massive flip. In the beginning, here we go. This might be race on. Real Deal and Luke very close. Luke with that big mistake, but a nice move to the inside on the chicane. Gonna set it up how Detail did on Fireball earlier, and you get the 2 tires. If you're on the inside, you get to force the outside guy 2 tires off, which is a nice thing there for the inside driver. Makes it a little bit easier to complete that pass. Luke does that on Real Deal. Real Deal gonna lose the lead, but the battle's not over yet. Or, yeah, the whole race is not over yet. Like, could still bring his way back into this. Oh! But Luke gets a really nice gain on the exit of the chicane, and now Detail's right there on Real Deal. Going to 4 to go this time by on Rolled Oak, closing out the overall, and Luke right now has it, but if Detail gets into second and then competes for the lead, it's going to get really interesting from what we saw last race. So the overall, very interesting here as well. A lot of things going on in this second moto. Oh no, Real Deal. We saw him do it earlier in the race. We saw him do it the last lap, and yeah, he's on the horn. He's on the horn. He's been pretty good on this track, but it seems that neg camber is just the one turn that's biting him, and it's costing him big here late in the race. So Real Deal going back to third, but again, not out of it yet, and still running a very good race and on for a very good night. Oh no, Matt going down the exit there. Fortunate for him on that downhill. Oh, Detail a little close in the exit. That was really tight. That's going to bring Real Deal back into it a little bit. Not what Detail needed. He's going to need perfect. Well, honestly, they're both going to have to need perfect chicanes and perfect runs. These last 3 laps that we're entering right now, if they want to make up the space on Luke, and it's a pretty decent gap, they're going to have to run really good laps. If they're doing let-offs in the chicane, they're probably going to have to start running it full out. They're probably going to have to start diving this neg camber the best that they can and go for all the risky lines on the track that they can. And you saw it with Detail there. Literally, I could see it without even slow-mo, scraping the sandbag but not hitting it. He's going for it at this point. Down. It's downhill through the crest. And I think Detail with a really nice line right there. It looks like he gains on Luke and Real Deal. So maybe a spot on the track where he's found a bit of an edge. We're going to try to take advantage of that there. But that second chicane, it seems like he's got the first chicane down. The second chicane, I think, has given him more trouble. To be fair, I think the second chicane gives everybody more trouble on this track for sure.
Lap complete.
But here we go. It's still on. And, you know, what year is this? A classic Luke, Detail, Real Deal, top 3 GP battle, but on a different game than we're used to. Here in 2024, could dial back the calendar, think it'd be something you'd see on the latter half of 2017 or the beginning of 2018. But here we are, like 6 years later, and this is the situation that we're in. Coming to the white flag this time by as well. We're on 2 to go right now. And it's still close. And again, any like big runs, any heaters, any mistakes, it's not over. A battle, if Detail can get close enough, Luke makes a mistake, like, that could bring Real Deal back into it. I think Slaunch is out of the picture at this point, unless something crazy happens. Oh, Real Deal with a little bit of contact. Yeah, he's going to need some help now. I respect it, though. He's sending it. He's not giving up. Could tell by that move.
Checkpoint reached.
Here we go.
Complete.
White flag. One more time down. Maybe a 3 goose length gap. It's a big one, but it's not over yet. Oh, and Detail. Wow. That was a fantastic neg camber run right there. I think he just made up at least a 10th, maybe 2 on that. Seemed like he hit the perfect breaking point, and that's what he needs on this last lap. Absolutely going for the inside. Apex as far as he can there. He's going to need a clever dive, probably, to make this work. Could it be here? Going for it, and he does get there. Side by side, going through the chicane. You know they're going to send it. Wow, they both make it happen on the last lap, but they both bog on the exit. Through the corner. Detail singing it in. Luke fighting around the high side. And again, remember, this is to the line. This is for the win. And that's race right there. Blink and you miss it, and, I mean, you probably couldn't really call it. We'll absolutely look at a replay of that one. Crazy finish to the race. Easily one of the most wild GP race finishes that we've seen for the win. It's a real deal holding on to third. Slaunch taking fourth. Fireball with a fifth in this one. Soul now getting over to sixth. Opix seventh. Camby, wow, really close right there. Hunter, Soar. And then I believe that would make it Coop and Matt rounding it out as well. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Let's go take a look at that. This might take a second with the theater. We're going to have to fast forward probably, but... I mean, you could do a whole race breakdown on the different moments in the race, because it wasn't just the end. There was so much throughout the entire race that led to this, obviously. Every driver had a mistake. Detail had that run in the chicane. Real Deal had those, late race mishaps with the neg camber. Luke had the one in the second chicane that was pretty brutal. Slaunch had the flip early on. Maybe not a mistake, but, a tough situation. Everybody had a situation like that throughout the race, and they all added up in the end here. So here we go, entering the final lap. We're going to watch this real time. And right here, I think Detail, this is where he makes up a lot of the time. Look at that super early break, but look at how he lines that up. Just great run through the neg camber. That's got to be one of the better ones through the race. I think they both run the chicane pretty well, but that neg camber absolutely gained him a ton of time. And if he didn't nail that, I don't think he gets into position for this later move. I think absolutely that doesn't happen. Then right here, this is the move of the race. Into the downhill, and if you're Detail, you've got one move here. If he doesn't send it, it's not happening. Luke trying to run a normal line, but gets a little wide. And just a little bit of breathing room, and Detail maybe laying on the gas a little more than usual just to get there. And now it's side by side. It's not over yet. They both send it pretty hard into the chicane, and this is impressive. They both make it happen. No contact on the sandbags. They're both going to hit. Well, I think Detail gets more of the bog, but Luke's got the outside, so Detail's able to recover, send it into the inside, and then now it's a battle to the end, and Luke's got a bit of a gap here, but Detail does have the preferred turn on the technical final turn. I know it's a very small turn, but it's going to matter here, which is going to give him a little bit back, because he's got the preferred line to the end, and this is the run. That's the line right there, and it's that close. It's that close.
Checkpoint reached.
That is your finish for the win. That is nuts. That is nuts. So at the end, I'll probably edit in the angle and maybe do a rundown on it. I'm not going to overanalyze my angle too much from the theater, but I'll throw it into the end of the VOD. But super, super close finish. Great up and down race. Great battle. And in the end, we line up this way because of the checkpoint. As you can see, live during the race. But after the review, Detail gets the call for the moto win. And that's absolutely insane because now he's going to get, clutch up the overall and the sweep on the night. So talk about making a statement here on night 2 for sure. So huge moves from him on the Reach GPA night. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Both races got pretty dicey towards the end. But yeah, putting on a great show the whole night. But in the end, he was able to clutch it up. And that's huge. Now he's up there. 2 moto wins in the season. Tied for the moto win lead. That's going to shake up the points as well. I don't think he'll quite have the points lead, but he's going to be there. It's going to be super close. We'll cover that in the recap when we get there. But yeah, absolutely massive night. Still a solid night for runner-up again. Luke going to be runner-up in the race and also the overall. We'll go through that quickly. So overall points, Detail 34, Luke 30, Real Deal 27, Fireball 26, Slaunch 25. Very close between those 3 as well. Soul 21, Opix 19, Soar 18, Hunter 16, Matt 12, Camby 9, Coop 6. Rundown of the overall. Yeah, and then again the top 5 rest of the top 5 of this race. I was gonna say detail and D-mills at the same time. Real deal. We're going with real deal. In third, Slunch, 4th place, and Fireball running up the top 5 in this one. So yeah, absolutely crazy night. And I was saying it going, and I don't want to say I called it, but I was saying it going in that this was like kind of an underrated night on the calendar, and man did it deliver. Both of these races, honestly, and like this night as an overall is going to be a hard one to top for best race in the season. Okay, so unfortunately the recording glitched out at the end there. So what I'm showing here is the replay of the angle that we used for the photo finish. A couple times going to show the replay for it, and then I'll show the exact freeze frame that we used to determine it here in a moment. So here comes the freeze frame. It's detail on the bottom, Luke on the top. We ended up determining detail the winner for this. This one was a really hard call to make. As you could tell, it is one of the closest finishes that we've had for a win, just in general of all time. Probably the closest GP finish for a win that we've had, for sure. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed that insane race, and see you guys for Iron Hog next week.